Hey friends, welcome back to my channel. As you can tell by the title, we have such a fun video to do today. In this video, we are going to be reading all, or not all, but some 1-star reviews of my favorite books. Like my pride and joys, my babies. We are going to be looking up some 1-star reviews on what some people thought about the book because they simply either hated it because they genuinely thought it wasn't a good book, or they just don't have good taste in books. We already started off peeking already. Anyways, I want to say thank you to my best friend Shakira. She was the one who gave me this really great idea, and once she told me about this great idea about this book, about this video to do, I literally was like, you are such a genius. That is going to be so hilarious. So then I went on some other YouTubers, booktubers, and I saw their version of how they did it, and those videos were just so freaking funny. So I was like, you know what, I want to go ahead and do it as well. So I do have a book stack here, and they are a mix of like some fantasy, some romance, some thrillers, just all the things. I'm not really a big harsh rater, so a lot of the books that I own were really good books, and it was really hard for me to pick. But I just decided to go ahead and go with 6. Should you all want a part 2, then we'll get another stack and we'll do it again. But without further ado, let's go ahead and get into the first book. The first book we have here is Never Lie by Frida McFadden. We all know this is not a secret. I am not the biggest thriller girly, but Frida McFadden is slowly but surely definitely turning me into one, right? This one is following newlyweds Teresa and Ethan, and they are pretty much on a house hunt, right? They ended up coming across this house by a renowned doctor, Dr. Adrian Hill, and she completely vanished without a trace many years ago. So when they went to visit this house to see if this is something they wanted to buy, a snowstorm pretty much just erupted and they got stuck at the house while nobody else was there. While they were there, Teresa came across some cassette tapes that was some of the sessions between Dr. Adrian Hill and her clients, and things get real spooky, real quick, real mysterious, real fast, and definitely takes you on a whirlwind. I rated this book 5 stars. This was the first book of Frida McFadden that I've ever read, and I was obsessed and I could not get enough of her writing. So let's go ahead and see what other people had to say, because I know I loved it. So I'd be so shocked if other people hated it. So let's see what they say. So the first one says, you like horrible writing and a plot that makes no sense, then this is for you. She really hurting my feelings, because I feel as though Frida McFadden is a great introductory author, especially to those who are trying to get into thrillers. I feel like her writing is spectacular, and she's one of like my favorite thriller authors. So Allie, I disagree. Next one, this says that one contains spoilers. Another one says, this is so long, so we're just gonna like read a little bit of what she says. Rachel says, you could tell when an author seems to be trying to hit a specific word count. A lot of words like it's and hasn't and becomes it is and has not and so on. It makes it feel very choppy. Also, why do we need entire paragraphs describing turning on a light or the other mundane things? There are also many repetitive inner dialogues. At one point, the characters in a dialogue said, this room is about the size of a walk-in closet. The 2 paragraphs later, it says, I was right about the size of the room. It's about the size of a walk-in closet. Oh my God. So pretty much her whole problem with this book was the fact that she feels as though Frida McFadden just was trying to reach a certain amount of word count. And she used to do what we used to do in high school when we had to write a 5-page paper, and you're just trying to finish the paper, so you just say the same thing in different ways many times. Now that is hilarious. She put in some work with this review. As you all see, this was a pretty lengthy review, so to each his own, Rachel, but I disagree. We're just gonna read a couple of more about this one. Someone just said, Angel said, this is so stupid. I didn't think it was stupid though. That is so mean. That is not stupid. This book was not stupid. This book was really good. Disregard everything you're hearing about this book right now. Just go watch my previous videos when I read this book and listen to that review. We'll read one more. So this one says, oh, the potential of this book. and then the epic letdown. The book starts off well, gets you hooked, then makes you angry at how ridiculously bad it is. I never get 1-star ratings, and I typically enjoy Frida's books. I especially loved Housemaid, recommend it to everyone I know, but this ... I disagree, Aisha. I feel as though this book is really, really good, and I feel as though if you're not a thriller girly and you want to get into thrillers for the first time, Frida McFadden is a great book to start, especially Never Lie. So disregard everything you heard. Pick up a Frida McFadden book. Thank me later, okay? However, I didn't get too but heard about this book because though I rated this 5 stars and I loved it, this isn't like really one of my pride and joys. So let's keep going. Let's see how much further my feelings can get hurt. All right, so I had to turn on the ring light because the sun is going up and down and it's getting a little bit dark. So let's go into the next book. The next book we have is Terms and Conditions. This is the second book of the Dreamland Billionaire series. And when I tell y'all I love this book so much, I will take absolutely no criticism on this book. This one is following Declan and Iris. This one more so is like, what's the word I'm looking for? Fake marriage, not fake marriage, but yeah, like fake marriage, fake dating trope, close forced proximity. I think we had a one-bed trope at one point. This one is following Declan and Iris. And Declan has his grandfather who has passed away. He has a couple of other brothers. And his grandfather left him specific instructions on what he needed to do before he could inherit his portion of the money. Declan's was to get married and I believe fall in love. I don't know if that was quite part of the deal, but I feel like it was. So he had to get married before a certain time, and although certain things lined up, it didn't work out in his favor. So he has his assistant, which is Iris. She stepped in and saved the day, decided that she was going to be the one to marry her boss. So this is also like Grumpy Sunshine, boss, employee type of situation. Really, really good. I rated this 5 stars. I love this so much. Declan is that man. He is the type of man. Honestly, I don't have a book boyfriend. My husband is my real life goal, so I am very happy with who I have in real life. However, if I was the type to have like book boyfriends or really needed to stand on that, it would be Declan. So let's go ahead and see these 1-star reviews and see people trying to hurt my feelings or not. Oh my God. So somebody said, instead of being called Terms and Conditions, this should be called Copy and Paste. She thought she ate. Ellie really thought she ate with that, but she did not eat. Though it wasn't anything that I would have thought of, baby, you did not eat with that. It says, because this felt like the fine print in a slightly better font. Maybe she's, okay, maybe she is eating a little bit. She's eating a little bit. Okay, let's keep going. Slightly. And the main reason I finished this was for all of the cow and the Lana crumbs. Bye. I felt that this and the fine print were both extremely repetitive to the point that neither book had me hooked in the slightest. Ellie. Okay friends, so we are back. It has been like about an hour for me, but probably just a second for you all. I had a very bad migraine, so kind of had to wait until my medicine kicked in so I could keep going. So we were looking at the reviews of Terms and Conditions. So let's keep going because I think we only got through 1 or 2 reviews. So the second review, let's see. Oh, it kicked me out, hold on. Okay, y'all, read this review. Let me, oh my Lord have mercy. Okay. So someone says, DNFing at page 170. Declan is an insufferable jerk with no personality, and Iris is a wet blanket with no self-respect who lets everyone walk all over her. This is not romantic. This is painful. First of all, Haley Jean, you're not going to comfort Declan like that, nor Iris, okay? Declan is not an insufferable jerk. Declan is he's closed off. He doesn't allow a lot of people to get that side of him that he allows Iris to see, because that's just his personality, and that's okay. That doesn't make him an insufferable jerk, first of all. And second of all, I don't even know what a wet blanket is, but Iris is not a wet blanket, okay? My girl stands 10 toes down, and though there may be times where she may bend a little bit, but she does not break. So please, we're gonna do one more. The next one we have, oh wait, let me preface all of this and say, don't take any of this too seriously. Everyone is entitled to their very own opinion, okay? Everyone is entitled to their own opinion, and though I may love these books and they may hate it, that's okay. We read for fun. Everybody has different tastes. They have different writing styles. So all of these comments, my comments and stuff, are just for kicks and giggles, so don't take me too seriously. We'll read one more. Someone says, this is Jill's review. She says, wow, this almost put me on a book slump. I'm never reading another book talk sensation book ever again, even at gunpoint. Baby, give me whatever book you want me to read at gunpoint. I'm gonna read it. I got too much life to live. I got kids to raise and a man to love, okay? Girl, that is so mean. Y'all are literally hurting my feelings. Like, Terms and Conditions, Lauren Asher is such a phenomenal writer. Yes, her books are pretty long. Yes, they're lengthy, but I feel as though for the Dreamland Billionaire series and the Dirty Air series, like, the length was everything. I felt like it could have even been longer, so okay. The next book we have here, I don't want to accept any criticism on, is Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez. This was the first book of hers that I've read, and I loved it so much. I refuse to take any criticism on this. I have rated this 5 stars. If you don't know what this book is about, this is following Alexis and Daniel. This is an age gap romance where Alexis is being the older one than Daniel, and pretty much she is a doctor. Daniel is a mayor, small town hero to where he's from in Wakan. And Alexis, as she's passing through the town, something ends up happening to her car. Daniel comes and saves the day. She ends up getting stranded for a little bit. They end up having like this little one-night stand. Boom, bada bing, okay? This book was freaking everything. You have the one bed trope. I believe you do. Do you have the one bed trope? No, you don't have one bed trope, but you do have small town romance. Do have age gap. You do have like to a point where it's like 2 different worlds. Like, Alexis is scared to bring Daniel into her world, but Daniel's not afraid to bring Alexis into his world. It's just giving all the feels, and I feel as though that Abby Jimenez did such a great job writing this book. She did such a great job orchestrating the timeline of this book. Like, everything about this book was just pure perfection to me, and it just gave me all the feels. So I am curious to see what people negatively had to say about this book, because I'll be very surprised. So let's take a look. So out of 307,709 ratings, only 1,182 people rated this 1 star. Overall, this book has a 4.3 star rating, so that's really, really good. So the 1,100 people that rated this 1 star is very few and in between. So let's go ahead and see. So somebody says, oh my gosh, she went in. I didn't screenshot her entire review because it's too long. We'll start with a little bit of beginning. Brooke says, DNF'd at 59%. I really tried to finish this book. Like, it had so much potential to be good because the ratings are so high, but I felt it was about to put me back in a slump because of how boring it was, and the female main character was unbearable. Let me stop you right there. I absolutely loved Alexis. Alexis, I felt as though, although she did have some fears of bringing Daniel into her world because of how judgmental her family and friends are up in the city, I feel as though she did a great job at encouraging Daniel to know his self-worth and to not sell himself short. Though there were times where I feel like everybody feels as though, like, why are you so scared? You are a almost 40-year-old woman. Like, you shouldn't care about what other people think. That's easier said than done, especially when you grew up to be so trained on being a certain way, having certain people around of a certain caliber. It's not that easy. I don't care how old you are. So please, girl, please. She said she treats Daniel like a child because he's 28. I completely disagree. I don't feel as though she treated Daniel like a child at all. I feel as though, no, that is period. Like, I don't feel as though she treated Daniel like a child. So to each his own. But it says, he literally knows more than you do, so pipe down. He's not that young. No, Brooke, you pipe down because you seem very triggered. And also, how does she have a medical degree but is so helpless with life? She didn't even know what a fucking broom was. Well, first of all, everybody is a cut from a different cloth, right? If you grew up in such a rich family to where y'all grew up with maids and to where you never had to touch a broom, okay, her not knowing what a broom was, did she even say that? No, I feel like you're putting words in her mouth. I feel like she does know what a broom was. it's not that, I don't even think it was never a point where she didn't know what a broom was, or that she didn't know how to utilize the broom. I think she made that one up. Now, there may be a thing where maybe she didn't know how to work a washing machine or something, but a broom. But even if so, everybody's cut from a different cloth. And if you grew up never having to do something, you can't fault her for that. Okay? The male main character literally had to show her how to cook and clean. Be effing for real right now. She didn't know what a breaker was, couldn't make her own coffee, and doesn't know how to peel potatoes. But her friends call her privilege. But she calls her friends privilege. Again, Brooke. It's not her fault that she grew up so privileged that was her normal. That these type of things were not her normal. So we cannot fault her for that, okay? But the fact that she was actually willing to learn, so she doesn't have to feel so handicapped and feel as though people have to control her because of certain things she cannot do, I feel as though you gotta show my girl some grace, okay? We're just going to go ahead. She started screaming at us in this review. She said, you grew up wealthy, literally, shut up. Like, girl, you're almost 38 and can't do day-to-day necessities and can't even stand up for yourself to your bad word, toxic parents, and ex-boyfriend. Like, y'all, she was mad. Brooke was mad. All I want to say is, Brooke, I know you're entitled to your own opinion. I know this stressed you out a little bit. Like, I understand, but I feel as though you're being a little bit angry. You're being a little bit small-minded, okay? And I feel as though you should give this book another try when you calm down a little bit, read it from a different point of view, and then maybe you'll like it more. So anyways, let's read another review. Let me turn on my ring light, y'all. The sun is like going up and down, so I'm sorry about the lighting. So I'm just going to turn on my ring light so we can have some type of consistency. Eden kept it short and sweet. She said, I am a forever hater of this book. I don't care. Baby, I can respect it. Like, you're entitled to your own opinion, but I'm glad that you called it for what it was. Very haterish. Very hater much energy. All right. The next book that I will absolutely take no criticism on is Real by Kennedy Ryan. I read this book a year or so ago. I loved it so freaking much, okay? This is following Kanan Hall, and what is her name? It's been a while since I read this, so I'm about to like skim the back. This is following Kanan and I feel like and Neva. And pretty much Neva is a actor, she is a singer, and she does smaller shows because she's waiting on her big shot to be able to be on the big screen. So one day when Kanan stumbles upon her show, when she finally was able to play lead, I think in a play, Neva definitely caught his eye, and pretty much she got the opportunity to play this big lead role in a new Harlem Renaissance film. This is a forbidden romance. This is like forbidden attraction. This is like, it just gives all the feels, right? I absolutely love this book so much. I ended up rating this 5 stars. So I'm curious to see what the 1-star reviews is about this, because I 100% will not take no Kennedy Ryan slander over here. Like, it is forbidden, okay? Let's see what they say. So this book has 10,070 ratings. It has 4.46 overall star review. And out of all the reviews, only 36 of them rated this 1 star. So let's see who the haters are. Let's see what they say. So this one says, Nana says most of it bored me, especially the acting scenes between the characters. Honestly, I don't feel as though this book was boring. If this isn't your style, like contemporary romance, historical fiction romance possibly, if romance is not really your main genre, yeah, it might be boring to you, but Kennedy Ryan, she writes this so beautifully. Like, I don't feel as though the type of romance that she wrote really matters because it's such a good story. Dorothy Faye Turner says, I feel I wasted my time reading a story without an ending. Crazy. I don't care enough about the characters to want to know anything else. I'm done. Well, good thing for you, Dorothy. She didn't write a spinoff to this book, so I guess that works for you. But for me, I would love to get an update regarding Neva and Kanan. But to each his own. Let's look at one more. Dixon Dixon. She says, this was the only book I brought on a 7-day cruise. Throwing myself overboard was a more appealing option. Honestly, should have went that route. Dixon, I think you need to go to therapy. Because if any book makes you want to throw yourself overboard, I think that has more to do with you than the author and the writing. This story was beautiful. Y'all, please read this book. Any book of Kennedy Ryan's, I feel as though, from what I've read so far, her catalog is fire. She will make you feel so seen in all of her books. She will make you feel so... She just gets you so lost in the world. Like, y'all, this book is everything. Do not let these books, do not let these 1-star reviews deter you, okay? Don't listen to them. Let's look at the next one. So, the next book we have is A Court of Mystic Fury by Sarah J. Maas. Listen, y'all, don't piss me off. Do not piss me off with these 1-star reviews, because this was a true masterpiece through and through. I mean, this was so beautifully written. Sarah J. Maas really just took it up a notch. She has set the tone. She has set the standard when she wrote A Court of Mystic Fury. This is the second book in the ACOTAR series, and this is again following Bryson. This is following, I was about to say Violet, but that's not Violet. Feyre. This is following Tamlin. This is following the Night Court. This is following the Spring Court. This is following everything from the introductory book, ACOTAR. And this book was the best book in the entire series. This one, and then A Court of Wings and Ruin. If you, again, I say this all the time, if you read ACOTAR, if you did not get hooked by this book, you might as well just DNF the rest of the series, because if you didn't like this book, I just can't imagine if you'll like the other ones, because this one was the best. So, without saying too much, these are like Fays and High Lords, and in ACOTAR, Feyre has killed a wolf that belonged to one of the Fays, and Tamlin, who is a wolf, came to collect his retribution, pretty much. Like, he came to collect her. He's like, you either gonna die or you gonna come live in the Feylands for the rest of your life, because you done killed something you were supposed to kill, yada 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 yada. Feyre and Tamlin developed this relationship, blah 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 blah. The way that ended, it introduced you to A Court of Mystic Fury, and then this is where you're probably gonna fall in love with Bryson and just all the things, right? So I definitely will accept no criticism on A Court of Mystic Fury. I'm scared to read y'all 1-star reviews, but let's see what we find. And by the way, friends, I did rate this 6 stars, so that should show you how much I really love this book. So this is Kay's review. So we're going to skim her review and see what she had to say. So Kay says, first of all, this is marked as high fantasy. You got to be kidding me. I scanned through the entire book. I still have no clue why it's so popular. I can give you 1,000 reasons, Kay, why this book is so popular, but I'm gonna let you keep going. So she also says, A Court of Blah Blah is boring as characters are infuriating and tiresome. They possess no unique or remarkable qualities. Quite on the contrary, actually. Honey, everything you're saying is just so wrong. That's all I gotta say. Like, do not listen to this, y'all. But we're gonna keep going. She says, I think we all agree. No, we do not agree with anything you say, Kay, but we're gonna keep going. It's just plain wrong if a middle-aged man tries to get into a teenager's pants. But it's all hotness if you stretch the age gap from decades to centuries. Baby, this is a fantasy. It's not real. Fays are not real. Like, they're not real. So, like, where's your imagination? Like, these type of people are the type of people that grew up and took everything so seriously. Like, they're the type of people who did not watch Dragon Tales. They're the type of people who didn't enjoy Cartoon Network. These are the type of people who barely enjoyed PBS Kids. Like, girl, did you not watch Chronicles of Narnia? Let's be for real. Let's be for real. Anyways. Sex scenes were laughable and cringeworthy. I call this erotica for children. Don't look at me. I'm not the one who wrote it. The writing was monotonous. Is that how you say it? I don't even want to think about this. Plot, was there any? Whatever it was, I found it painfully predictable. Girl, Kay is a hater. Don't listen to anything that Kay said. Because this book was so beautifully written. If anything, the plot of this book did indeed drive the story. So the fact that Kay said there was no plot, did she even read the book for real? Did she even read the book, or did she say she skimmed it? I feel as though, yes, that's exactly what she said. She said she skimmed through the book. So if you're reading a review for anybody said that they skimmed through the book without actually taking the time to understand the book, their review is not valid. It is literally invalid. Don't listen to anything that they say. Next one. So someone says, this is Cindy's review. And Cindy says, the more I think about it, the more I realize I didn't enjoy anything about this book at all, so it's more suited to be a 1 star. This book was 600 pages of slog to get through. That is so disrespectful. She need to be locked up. I understand how people would consider the sequel to be an improvement since the main character shows more agency and certain tropes are reversed, but the development was very on the nose and came at the expense of turning other characters into cartoonish villains. I could not disagree more with you, Cindy. The writing suffered a lot from telling and not showing, especially when it came to the dialogue, where it mostly consisted of the main character asking questions which would result in other fairies answering via several pages of monologues in order to tell the exposition and characters' background stories. So let me tell you something. I feel as though by Faye were asking so many questions, and the way that they answered those questions was a way to take us through the story and help us understand the world building without it just being strictly world building without the dialogue. I feel as though reading fantasy that is so honed in to just world building, it's easy for it to be mundane. I feel as though with fantasy, I love when an author just goes ahead and get into like the story. I love when they get into the juicy part of it while having the characters ask certain questions or put us in certain type of situations or scenarios to where we can learn about the world and the background and the history, because I feel as though it makes it more exciting. It makes it more enjoyable. So if you wanted a book, honey, okay, if you wanted a book that was just strictly about the world building first, maybe you should have started off with ACOTAR, because that's why ACOTAR was a 4-star for me, because though it was really good, don't get me wrong, there was a lot more history in that in the way that it seems like you would have preferred it. So, Cindy, we're moving on with your review. We're gonna read one more 1-star review on this book. All right, so the last one for this one is Mari's review, okay? First, I DNF'd this book, and then I skimmed the last 40% and read the ending. That is y'all's problem number 1. Skimming through the book. Stop skimming. If you don't want to commit to the story, then don't commit to it at all. Don't rate a book, right, that you didn't fully try to understand, that you didn't fully read for real because you wanted to skim, and then you go around and give the author 1-star review. Anyways. Truly, this is somewhere between a DNF and a 1-star because it is awful, and when I wasn't dying laughing over the terrible writing, I was in actual pain over the terrible writing. Nothing that I could think of as positive hold much water because of the terrible writing. Sarah J. Maas forces tone and plot. She forces her choice of love interest down our throats. She spoons feed her audience about everything and spells out every interaction, every conversation, and every dang look that passes between characters. I truly don't get how this is so highly rated. This is awful. Everything is awful. Well, Mari, I disagree. I feel like Sarah J. Maas' writing is impeccable. It's incredible. The way that she's able to just write a fantasy and have us so in tune with the book, to have us so in love with the book and with the characters, how we're so connected to them to where we genuinely care about what does and what will not happen to them. I feel as though she's a great writer, and I feel as though her rating is invalid because she skimmed through the book and she just read through the ending, so she didn't really get connected and get attached to the characters like somebody like me who actually read the book in its entirety and its in totality. So yeah, so we got one more book here. Moving on. This is so funny. The last book we have is Fourth Ring by Rebecca Yarros. I ended up rating this 5-star. I rated the entire series 6 stars because I loved it so much. I loved Fourth Ring. I loved Iron Flame. If you have not heard of this book, this is a fantasy following Violet Sorrengail. And Violet Sorrengail is the daughter of the... her name is not the chief. I think she's the director, the deputy, like she's like the head honcho. And she trained her whole life to be a scribe. And pretty much what a scribe, those are like very, very smart, intelligent individuals who like work in the library and who keeps accounting for all the books and the history of their world. But her mother had other plans for her and she forced her to become a dragon rider. Violet ain't got no business being a dragon rider, unbeknownst to us, because she is just this, she trained her whole life to be a scribe. There was nothing athletic about her. There was nothing that interested her to be a dragon rider. Also, being a dragon rider is incredibly dangerous. Just think about those who are in the military who are on the front lines. Like they're on the front lines, they're the first ones to be out when war starts. That's pretty much where her mom had set Violet to do. And this was pretty much following the journey on her becoming a dragon rider. And even if she does, survive being in that camp, is that what it's called? What is it called? Yeah, even if she does survive to become a dragon rider, she still has to make sure she get paired with a dragon, because all the dragons ain't trying to pair with everybody, honey. They're very picky about their energy. They're very picky about who they want to be paired with, okay? Because it's a big thing. If anything happens to the rider, something happened to the dragon, if something happened with the dragon, the rider, it's a lot, okay? So I understand the hesitation on the dragon part. But then in that time frame of Violet trying to make it, she meets Xaden, and Xaden is like her arch enemy. So this is like an enemies to lovers type of romance. It is so good. Xaden is the pinnacle. He is the top of the food chain when it comes to like the best book boyfriends, the best like manly type of vibes there is. Like Daddy X, that's what I call him. Oh my god. So this book was really good. I read Fourth Wing, I read Iron Flame, and I'm so excited for Onyx Storm to come out. But anyways, let's go ahead and look at these 1-star reviews, because I know she has some haters with this story. Alright, so I hope I'm saying her name right. This is Alexandra's review. She rated this 1.5 5-year stars, and she already started off with a bang. She said, new half-year resolution. I need to stop taking recommendations for book talk. I'm not going to lie here. If this series hadn't been raved about everywhere I looked online, I probably wouldn't have read it. I'm trying to stop reading TikTok popular books, but this rating and this book made me pick it up. Fourth Wing was my first book by Rebecca Yarrow, so I didn't know exactly what to expect, but at least I now know that it will be my first and last story by this author, because it turned out not to be for me. You know what? I can respect her opinion because she's so respectful. Like, she's giving her honest review without bashing the author, and I like that. But let's keep going and see if she pisses me off. Alright, so this review probably won't cover all the things I didn't like. Didn't work out for me in the story. She's very respectful, and I'm really liking how she's documenting her review. So she says, this story did not hook me from the beginning at all. The main reason for this is probably because the writing style didn't speak out to me. I actually DNF'd it the day before because of that reason, but decided to give it another chance because I thought it might not be my day for it, or maybe I wasn't in the right mood after a whole week. At one point, I was even glad about the decision, but my enthusiasm didn't last long. I had to be honest and say around 40% of the book, I was pretty invested when the dragons finally showed up. Unfortunately, it turned out I was only interested when the dragons were involved. Okay. Y'all, this is a long review. My goodness. I'm going to skip to the ending where she says, ending my review, all I would say is that I'm pretty sad and disappointed that I didn't end up liking this book. Yeah, first of all, Alexandra, I can respect you 100%. She was so honest. She was so careful with her words. You could tell she wasn't trying to bash the author. She pretty much just had this whole thing that it just wasn't for me. And I can respect that. So let's move on. Good kudos to you, Alexandra. Someone said, Sarah says, if I had $1 million for every cliche in this book, which there are a multitude, I still regret spending $20 on all 490 pages of this mess. I am so offended. That just offended me. So she didn't like the world building. Well, okay, so she does have spoilers, so we're going to like not read that. But Sarah, whatever. Anyways, I really hope you all enjoyed this video. of me reading the 1-star reviews of all of my favorite books right here. Fourth Ring, A Court of Mist and Fury, Real, Part of Your World, Terms and Conditions, and Never Lie. I feel as though this was hilarious. Again, everybody's entitled to their own opinion, so this video was strictly for kicks and giggles. However, if you do want a part 2 to this video, just let me know down in the comments below. I had so much fun filming this. But anyways, friends, I cannot wait to see you in the next one. Bye!